Good evening and welcome to Purposeful and Meaningful. I'm glad you're all joining in live. And for those who will be watching the replay, please put hashtag replay. Okay, for those who will be joining in and let us know your thoughts on this conversation. I'll be having my wonderful friend, Mr. Festus. He will be joining us. Thank you so much, Tiffany. Thank you, everybody that has joined in. Thank you. You're welcome to Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Ifoma Samuel. And today we'll be talking about an interesting topic. We've always had boys and we've always had boys sit on the side in our discussion. So today I want to narrow in a bit as we take the mentor's perspective. Yay! My parties are all live. Mr. Festus, how are you doing? Good evening, Mr. Festus. We are so happy. Okay, thank you for joining in live. I'm excited to have you. Okay, so Mr. Festus does this math thing a lot, and I don't know Mr. Festus, Biko in my native language. Yeah. Okay, everybody from all over the world, thank you so much. From all over the world, let us know where you're joining in from. If you're watching in the replay, don't forget to put hashtag replay and let us know what your thoughts are. Mr. Festus is not only an educator, an experienced educator, over a decade experience in matters concerning parenting, matters concerning raising boys, mentoring. He has so much to offer, not because, when we say that it takes a village to raise a child, sometimes we all often think of people that are actively parents or people that are grandmothers alone, like immediate family. I must let everybody know officially that the community that we're talking about is not just about family members. It's not about people that we are familiar with. It also has to do with your child's or your children's educator. It also have, village is all encompassing. Neighbors watching out for other neighbors. Okay, so Mr. Festus is that one guy that when you have issues that you want to call over the phone as a parent and say, what do you advise on this and this? Whether it's behavioral or academically, he has always pulled through for our son. And I must use this medium to say thank you, Mr. Festus.
Yeah, thank you, Mama. Thank you, viewers. I'm very happy for coming live today. And I want to, first of all, give all glory to God and also thank the purposeful and meaningful group that is making this thing possible. Now, when you look at
Mr. Festus, please, can you start with a prayer? Sorry for interrupting you. I know you are really ready. Sorry for interrupting. We always do that. We always ask our audience, our guests to actually pray before we start. So please just say a word of prayer, then you get into the discussion. Then I will shush after that. Thank you.
Okay. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Father, Lord, we thank you for life today. We thank you for giving us the opportunity to hear this today. And we know whatever we're going to teach today is going to be to the glory of your name. Every one of us here that is live watching this program, may they all be blessed in one way or another in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Nothing is going to fall short of whatever we're going to learn today. Everything is going to be in the hands of God. Thank you, Lord, for giving us the opportunity to hear this in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. Thank you. So, please, you have the floor.
Okay. Today's world, we have a lot of problems, making our boys, because making humans not behave right in today's world.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these things are happening is as a result of the fact that the upbringing of the child has some gaps that parents need to fill up. And some of these gaps sometimes happen as a result of parent negligence. Maybe the person in charge taking care of the ward or the guidance, not paying proper attention to the child's well-being. So before I start, I would need to first of all, from the topic is parenting gaps in raising kids in our world today.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we are talking about using Nigeria children as a case study, it's also a reflection other kids around the world. It also be a reflection to other kids around the world, because what happens to a Nigerian child is also happening to other children in other parts of the world. So before I start, we first of all talk about what parenting is. Somebody can ask, okay, what is even parenting? Parenting is something that should be inborn. It's not something learned. It's inborn. It's a natural gift that is given to us by God. What we are supposed to, do naturally to make our children
Mm-hmm.
behave properly. So parenting is just an activity of raising a child as a parent, raising a child properly, so that the child can be able to fit into the good facets of life, so that the child can be able to move the economy forward, the child can be able to morally brought up, the child can be able to be spiritually brought up and otherwise. That's just what parenting is about. It's bringing up the child in a proper way so that the child can function
Mm-hmm.
properly in a society. So, like talking about the definition of parenting now, I will first of all narrow it down to the different types of parenting systems that we have in the society. We have different types of parenting systems, and this parenting system is not what every parent puts into practice to
Okay.
achieve a result. First of all, we have parents who are very, very authoritative. The authoritative parent side, whereby these parents want their children to obey all their orders, obey anything that is thrown at the children. They don't want to listen to the children. When the child is talking, they don't want to listen. All what they want is the child should do this, and that is all. And such
Mm-hmm.
a parent will never get the best from that child if they are an authoritative parent. So you must always learn as a parent to give listening ears. Let your parenting style be very diplomatic. It shouldn't be a parenting style that is like of a
Rigid.
military dictator. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
very rigid. You are not who wants to just pour everything on the child and the child will just swallow it hook and line. And also, when you are an authoritative parent, it's going to make the child very shy. And if you get to a
Mm-hmm.
point that the child start having this withdrawal syndrome, the child start, staying back, not wanting to tell you things that is affecting him or her. You know,
Yeah.
we've had series of cases whereby children take to suicide. They kill themselves because the father something is bothering them and they don't have anybody to share it with. And parents are supposed to be the closest friends, they should have, not
Mm-hmm.
even an outsider, not even an uncle. So the parents
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to be closest friend every child should have. So if you are not having a kind of parent who is authoritative and is not ready to give you listening ears, the child is going to, feel locked out of this world, and you get to a point that he or she becomes depressed, and before you know what is happening, sometimes the child takes his life or her life, or at times because of the fact that they cannot take proper advice from their parents. They tend to start
Mm-hmm.
taking advice from people who are not supposed to,
Outside.
advise them, people doing other things. And this thing will affect the child. That is for authoritative parenting side. Then we also have what is called the diplomatic parenting style. Now, this diplomatic parenting style is a type of parenting system whereby the parent is ready to give listening ears to the child. When the child is talking, the parent is listening. The parent is a friend, is very calm. He or she is very calm. They want to, know everything that happens to the child. They want the child to always speak up, to always tell them what is bothering them. All right. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not saying diplomatic. You should start, going too deep into the child's private life because these children still want to have a little bit of their private life
Privacy.
that yes, yes, that they can not the private life that can destroy them, but the private life that can make them happy and secure. So the diplomatic parent, the diplomatic parenting style, we enable the child to be very free. The child can express himself, can express herself. The child is always happy whenever issues bother the child. The child is always ready to open up to speak to the parent. All right. So that is the diplomatic parenting style, which is the type of parenting system most parents should adopt, which is very, very good because it's good for our children to speak up. We've had
Mm.
series of cases whereby children who are supposed to speak up, they decided to withdraw. They have this withdrawal system as a result of the authority the parents
Mm.
so they are
And the
scared. They don't
fear.
want to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the fear. Yeah. So the parents should always be very compassionate. They shouldn't be authoritative are, when they are mentoring their words. Then that is the diplomatic parenting style. There is another one again, which is the laissez-faire parenting style. The laissez-faire parenting style. This laissez-faire parenting style is the kind of parenting system whereby the parents don't care. They pay zero attention to the child. They don't even know what is happening around the child. The parent is just there. Whatever happens, they don't care. They don't even want to know if the child has eaten, if the child is sick, if the child is having issues that is bothering him psychologically or bothering her psychologically. They are very concerned about bringing up the child. And this type of parenting system is the worst parenting
system ever.
Yes, because the authoritative is even better than the laissez-faire. Because when you're authoritative, you can even, listen and even hear some things the child have to say. You are not totally shut out of the child's life. But when you practice the laissez-faire system, whereby you don't care, the child can easily get destroyed. We've seen a lot of children joining different social vices, cultism, disrupting the system. Even when they go into politics, when they grow up, they go into politics. They carry this attitude into all those political offices and they destroy the economy. So this type of system of parenting style is non-negotiable. Parents should never go into this type of parenting style. This laissez-faire parenting style. And we indulge all to try as much as possible to maintain the diplomatic parenting system, which is the best parenting system. I know in those days, in the olden days, our parents were very authoritative. Whatever they tell you is final. Whatever they want you to do is what they want you to do. They don't want to hear. They don't want you to pick up to talk about what is bothering you. So I will indulge all parents to practice the democratic parenting system. Then, aside that, now talk about the different type of parenting system. I'm not going to quickly run into the gaps, the parenting gaps, the things that make some of these children not to function well in the society. One, when a parent is over-involved in a child's activity or under-involved, it can also affect the child. But let me talk about the under-involvement. Under-involvement is more like the laissez-faire attitude. When issues are about the child, the parent is not ready to listen. Sometimes the parent listens, but he or she is not ready to function 100% to actually know what is wrong with the child. So this can easily affect the child. It can give the child low self-esteem, and the child can also be depressed when the parent is under-involved in the child's affairs. And also, when a parent is also over-involved, the over-involvement
that's also a problem.
That's also a problem. It's not like the authoritative system. Anything the child does, you want to know. And the over-involvement parenting system is also called the helicopter. It's the type of those type of parents are called the helicopter parents. They want to know everything that is happening. Once the child complains of anything, they want to know. And if the child is in school, anything happens, they want to come to the school to fight parents. They want to come to the school they want to come to the school to fight teachers. They always want to. They don't want any teacher or anybody to even instill discipline in the child because they are over-involved in the child's affair. And when you are also over-involved in your child's affair, when you don't allow some certain things that doesn't really matter to go, it can also affect the child because the child, if for example the child is in a school whereby the school policy is zero discipline, because there are some schools that practice that zero discipline. They just want the parents to have the say. They want the parents to always have the say. They don't want to hear from the other parties. That child can start developing some attitude that will destroy his or her future. Because he or she will always believe that I can always get away with whatever.
Get away with anything. Yeah, that's correct.
Yes, parents always pick up for me. So that is the over-involvement. It's also a parenting that parents need to quickly iron out before it blows out of proportion. Then the other one I'm just going to discuss five parenting gaps. So the other one is the little or no discipline, right? Little or no discipline. We have parents who do not discipline their children, all right? They don't discipline their children at all. Even when they know what their child did is bad, they don't want to quickly curb that attitude, you know? They want to say, oh, my baby boy, you know, they want to pet the child. That is little discipline, okay? At least, no, that is zero discipline. You are not disciplining the child at all, right? Yes. And it's very, very bad because according to Sharon Frederick, a physiotherapist, a psychotherapist rather, she said that children who have little or no discipline are left to fend for themselves. So imagine a child
can you please say that again? They are less what?
They are left to fend for themselves, which can result in injury.
They are left to fend.
Yes, to fend for themselves. Children who do not have discipline at all. Because fending for themselves can come in different forms. It can come in form of, okay, the child is not taking decisions on his own, on her own. The child is fending for himself. So nobody's paying attention to the child anymore. So the child is taking decisions for himself or herself. And which is very, very bad. Because at the end of the day, the child may end up taking some decisions that are very drastic and can lead to death or can even lead to child being in prison. Right? Then the little discipline also can also affect the child. The child is disciplined, then the child is not fully disciplined. But for a child to function well in a society, the child should be fully disciplined. The child should have some certain values in his or her, or having in the society. So when the child is disciplined in a very on a very small scale, now the child will not be a proper functional child when the child grows up. But some things will still go wrong in the child. For example, in a child who doesn't greet his elders, like it's part of the world we find ourselves in Nigeria.
Children lack courtesy now. Most children do.
Yes, they lack courtesy, and which some schools also do not instill those
values.
Those core values into the children. So the child will grow up like that because it is not discipline the child wholly. The child will grow up like that and start carrying that attitude of not wanting to greet his elders. The child feels that it is right or her right to just walk past by without greeting the elder or greeting people who are older than him. So I just use that as one of
an example
of the little discipline. Then the other one I'm going to talk about, the strict or rigid discipline. When parents are too strict, this strict or rigid discipline is an attitude that the authoritative parental system style bring up into a family. When a parent is too strict, all right, it makes the child to be withdrawn. At times, the child actually has something bothering him or her to say. Then because of the fact that the child is scared that, oh, if I say this, my dad is going to be very mad at me, or my mom is going to spam me. You know, the child tends to withdraw. They become very fearful, and sometimes these children become rebellious when they come into the school system. They become rebellious because of how their parents are. And most children who comes from home that have rigid parents or parents who are very strict, they tend to be very, very typical of violence in school, right?
Violence.
Attitudes they are learning from their parents at home. Then another thing I'm going to talk on is the withdrawing affection and attention. All right? The withdrawing affection and attention. You see some parents, because of the fact that their children committed a crime or maybe their child offended them, they will decide to withdraw the love they used to show that child. They withdraw it. They no longer show the child love because they believe that, okay, this is serve as a detriment to the child. No, it shouldn't be like that. When a child offends you or when the child commits a crime, you shouldn't just lock the child out. Don't lock the child. Don't withdraw your affection and the love you show the child totally. You don't do that. So what they are supposed to do as a parent is to also discipline the child and also show the child affection. Let the child know the reason why this discipline was instilled in her or himself. You understand? So don't just love the child out 100%. But when you do that, you are indirectly telling the child that you don't love the child, or you don't have belief on the child. You know, the child can, because of this can bring the child's self-esteem down, and it can even make the child have no confidence in themselves. So that is the withdrawal affection style of parenting that a parent should feel. Then the last one is the shaming. This is shaming. Shaming children. Good for parents to shame their children. It's very, very, very bad. You know, when you start shaming children, shaming can come in different forms. For example, you are a child, your son or your daughter committed a crime, or he did something, or she did something. You start telling the child, look at your big head, look at your coconut head. You know, you start using some languages that
negative words.
Yeah, negative words. So you see that the child will start feeling, when the child is in school, even when the child makes mistakes, the child will start thinking, oh, maybe I actually have a dumb head, or maybe I'm actually sick upset, because these are the words the parents often use on them.
Constant, yeah.
So psychologically, it starts affecting their self-esteem. And this thing can affect their academic work. They will not be able to perform very well in the classroom. And sometimes they become shy to ask questions, you know, in the class, because they don't want their mates to shame them also. All right. So these are some of the. I just brought out this five. If I have time, I can tell you more and more and more.
I know you. Let me before you move on to the next. If you're watching in our replay, feel free to jump in and let us know what part of the discussion is really hitting your heart. Mr. Festus is very trained in things regarding parenting, because he has been an educator and has worked with many parents, including myself. He has worked with many parents, you know, help in behavioral issues, help in academic profiling of your child, because sometimes we don't know that. We think that we know our children well enough. But I often tell parents that if you're not working with your child's educator, then you're making a mistake. Okay, and not only is Mr. Festus into this, he's also into mentoring. I'm sure he's going to move into how mentoring boys, because I'm going to narrow in. I told you specifically that we are gradually going to taper the discussion towards boys, because many times in many parenting discussions, you will find out that the emphasis is always on girls and mothers and girls and mothers. I want your expertise in what you've seen. Thank you for all these beautiful things. I'm also writing, and this is how my book has been filled so far. So I always tell my audience, always have your notepad handy, because you don't know enough. And in discussions like this, you're learning at the same time. I've learned quite a number of things. Thank you for sharing the gaps in parenting. Where are parents missing it when it comes to boys? Because I love let me share a little bit of encouragement. I was in one of those sessions when Mr. Festus was talking to our son, and something jumped at me. The fact that parents think that they can do it alone. Sometimes our children are encouraged by listening to another adult who you don't even have to know anything regarding maybe the background of that child. But that conversation you had with our son that evening, it jumped at me. It spoke to me, because as a parent, I'm like, okay, I'm doing something right, because it's the same conversation I've had with him in the past, and you were not there. And you were here reinforcing the same values and saying, oh, this will make you tougher. These are the experiences I've had. I've seen you share your own story with your young mentees, and they always look very pumped going to school. They look pumped, jacking up, taking their backpacks and saying, Mr. Festus said, we are coming to school, so time, we're going to have and I know that in every of your class, you still have that time for mentoring, that time to encourage your children. Mr. Festus, I want to say thank you for that. What are the areas parents are missing when it comes to boys? Because we're always girls, but now we're seeing broken adults, broken little boys growing into men that are damaged inside. Something is wrong. When we're growing up, we didn't used to hear so much about rape. Now rape is a thing. We didn't used to hear so much about domestic violence. We just knew neighbors who were always going to be You know, you could easily run to somebody else's house, and that father is still going to instill the same value your father is instilling into you. But these days, it's not like that. So something is wrong. The fatherly role and the boys becoming broken adults. I don't understand what's happening. So you are in the field.
Okay.
Let us hear. Let's hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I hope we're not losing you now. Okay, so while we wait for Mr. Festus to hop, boys can be men. Okay, somebody is asking. Well, this is okay. Thank you so much, Princess, I hope. This is so needed. Yes, please. So while Mr. Festus tries to rejoin, let me give a quick recap of what we have learned so far. He has talked about parenting as something that is naturally, so we don't, okay, I'm hoping for him to jump back in. I'm hoping for him to come back in. Parenting comes natural to us. Okay, it's a natural gift. That's what he said. He also mentioned, all right, so let me, yes, thank you. Mr. Festus is back. He also mentioned the different types of parenting. He mentioned the authoritative. He also mentioned, waiting for him to join back in. Good. Okay. I was giving the, thank you for coming back. I was giving a quick recap, so I think I'll do the recap after. Let's listen to you. Thank you. We can't hear you. You can go on, Mr. Festus. Okay. Okay. Go on. We can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Go on.
Okay. Mentoring the boys is very, very important. The reason why mentoring boys are important is because at the end of the day, these boys are going to be the father of the home in the future. One, as a parent, when you are trying to give chores in the home, do not lay emphasis on it is the girl that must do it. Don't do that. Don't say it is the girl that must wash. It is the girl that must cook. It is the girl that should do the errand. Don't do that. Because the moment you start doing that, you are giving the male child authority over the female child. He or she he starts having this notion in mind that, oh, I'm an alpha male, I can do whatever I like, so nobody can tell me what to do. So allow the male child, the same way you train the male child to cook, teach your male child how to cook. Because you never can tell. He can get married to a wife that does not know how to cook. If he's a responsible young man, you can teach the wife how to cook, and that will solve the issue of cooking in the home. You can teach the male child how to cook. You can even teach the male child how to tidy up things in the home. Because some of our boys these days, they are very dirty. You know, they don't know how to tidy their things. They don't know how to keep their tools, you know, and all that. So teach the boys how to keep their things. The same way you teach ladies how to be organized, teach the boys how to be organized. All right? Then
yes,
also,
please. Yes, please.
How to groom their body, how to take care of their body. Very, very important. Because these are some of the things we do in our school where we work. We teach them body grooming,
please.
how to groom their body.
Yes,
so
please.
We have a special people to teach them how to groom their body when the child is not when the child is about getting to puberty and all that. You know, how they should bathe properly, you know, how they should also confide in their parents if they are having some changes in their body. You know, they shouldn't keep it to themselves. They should also, you know, talk to their parents about what they feel and how their body feels. You know, then also we also learn to, you know, when the male child commits a crime in the home, you want that child to be seriously disciplined. You need to discipline that male child and make sure the male child knows the reason why that discipline was instilled. Because if you don't discipline the child, or you discipline the male child without properly telling the male child the reason why that discipline was instilled, the child will still end up, you know, carrying out that same act again. And we should also always make the male child to understand that the female counterpart are supposed to be
tender.
They are supposed to be protected in help them in whatever cause they are engaged in. You should always learn to what to assist them as a male child. Then also, when a male child commits a crime, do not say because it's a male child, you will not say, oh, you stupid boy, you did this, you are a bully. No, don't label the behavior. Do not label the behavior, but do not label the child. What that means is it is the behavior of that male child that you should curb immediately, not the child. Because most parents end up, for example, a male child committed an offense. Instead of the parent to curb that offense the male child committed, they start using words like, you are a bully. You are not supposed to say that. You are supposed to ask questions like, you are not a bully. Why should you behave like a bully? You are not a bully. Why should you behave like one? Don't say you are a bully because you are a bully to that child. You are indirectly condemning the child already. You are condemning the male child. And also, we should always teach our male children to be not to have this procrastinating mind when they want to carry out tasks. They shouldn't have this
procrastination.
Mind. Yes, when they want to carry out tasks, they shouldn't say, for example, they are supposed to wake up every morning to wash their parents' car, for example, or wake up in the morning to quickly help their mom in the kitchen. They should put it as a routine. There shouldn't be procrastination. Oh, I don't think I'll be able to do this. Maybe I will just do it by, maybe the child is supposed to do it 5 o'clock. The child is start saying, oh, no, I should do it 6 o'clock. No, it shouldn't be procrastination. They should do it at the time that it is needed. And also, they should also teach the male children how to be very, very patient. Patience is very, very important. Patience is very important. They should when a male, but most male children have this aggressive nature. They want it to be done quick, real quick. They want it to be done real quick. And at times when they are in class, they are not getting what the teacher is saying. They tend to feel very bad, because they are not getting it. Try to make the child understand that no, this thing is a process. Be patient, you will get it. Encourage them. Because when you teach them patience, they can also bring it into their matrimonial home when they grow up. Because they might end up with a partner that is very, very troublesome, or a partner that is not patient like them. So, the partner they learn from the home, they will be able to tolerate most of the things the partner is bringing to the table. So they should be taught how to be very, very patient. And they should also be taught how to manage finance. Very important, finance. They should be taught how to manage finance. Because the man is the breadwinner of the home. If a man cannot manage finance, it's a problem.
That's a problem.
Serious problem in the home. So they should be taught how to manage finance. Because managing finance, you may not tell the child, okay, bring a book. Who is that? How much did I give you today? Okay, come. No. The child can be learning from you how you manage your home as a parent. Also determine how that child is going to be. Do you understand? So the child should be taught how to manage finance. Financial management is very, very important. Then also, emotional intelligence of the child is very, very important. Let the child know how to show empathy. Let the child know what empathy is and how to sympathize and when empathy should come in. The child should know. So you should teach the child all this. Then you should also engage the male child to carry out sporting activities. When a male child engages in sporting activities, it can also help to train build the child mentally, make the male child physically fit, and it can also make the male child to accept defeat, because some male children do not accept defeat.
Team spirit.
So let them teach the male child how to have the spirit of sportsmanship. If the child fails, let the child learn how to accept it and work towards improving himself. you know. So these are some of the points I can give you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am I'm so excited you mentioned empathy. That's one word I'm going away with this discussion. Empathy towards the female female counterpart and all that. I find out that in certain educational sector, what you notice is there's, of course, I like the fact you mentioned aggression, and this bullying thing can also go on. Thank you for all the points you mentioned. All the points are very, very, very needed. I want you to talk about how boys should actually treat girls, because some of this conversation that I'm starting to have, and I have a lot of parents that reached out personally and saying, okay, Ifeoma, these are issues that are trending, what should we do? And you have friends, and what you guys should go talk about it. This boy girl relationship is something that is close to me. I no matter how much we talk as educators or as teachers in the classroom, I notice that some children will walk up and tell you, I don't see anything wrong with hitting a woman. And you're wondering, where is this coming from? Of course, it's not far from the home. For a child that is constantly exposed to domestic violence, there is going to be an issue. There's going to be a bug. I don't know if you've had such experience before, and if there are some tips you can share. I'm sure some of the people watching us are probably going to be probably mentors or educators or parents, or I have quite a number of audience that are also single from the single parenting view of life and all that. So what advice would you give? How would you manage a child that constantly sees the mom being maltreated, by the father? I don't know if you've had such. I know you've had. I know you've had such experiences before. Tell me some of the wisdom that you want to share with us with respect to boy-girl relationship and children that are exposed to domestic violence.
Okay, like for the children that are exposed to domestic violence, I know most times when they come across it, when they experience it, it affects their. I always encourage them to speak up. All right, whatever issues that is bothering them at home, they should always learn to speak up. They shouldn't keep it to themselves, because the more you keep it to yourself, the more damage it may cause. Only to your parents and even to you. Because if the child always speak up and tell the teacher, that is why as a teacher you need to be very observant in the class. When you see your children, you need to know the behavior of every child you have in the classroom. Once you observe that a particular child is always moody, this is the child that used to be lively before, you can maybe at the quiet time just call the child to your office, do like a therapy on the child. What's the problem? Is anything the problem? Are you being bullied in school, or are you being bullied at home, or is your parents? Are your parents having
is an issue?
Financial difficulties at paying your school fees. What is the issue? So if they are a friend of the child will be able to speak up. Most times, if you are very close to children who are actually your friend, they will tell you things that you never expected of them. They will tell you the in-depth things that you never expected of them. So you have to, first thing is, you have to be a friend of that child, so that the child can always speak up and tell you what is bothering the child and the parent. Now, and if it is something that you think, sometimes we always say, I don't want to interfere in parental issues. It's not my concern.
Yes,
But if a parent's life is at threat, let's say there's a father that is always beating a mother, always beating a mother, and the child is aware of it. You can, if you are a sincere person, you can make the government get involved into that. Because instead of it to lose a life, the government gets into that and find out the reason why those domestic issues are coming up every time. So from the report that the child brings, and if at all you don't want to even involve the government, you can even involve, if you are somebody who actually have the interest of the parents at heart, you can invite one of the parents or two of the parents and try to see what the issue is and see how you can go about it. But if it's something that is very, very precarious or something that is life-threatening, you can decide to get the government involved. All right? In doing this, you will stop so many domestic violence sites, but most people are not speaking up at all. And it's also, apart from affecting the parents, it's also what affecting the child. Then as for,
That's the truth.
yes, as for the boys, how the boys should treat the girl. This issue also boils down to parenting because it shouldn't be a thing that should start from the school. Because a child who is a boy child who is not properly brought up at home, who does not have custody, who is not properly brought up,
Proper
we
orientation, yeah.
we definitely bring all these issues to the school. We bring all these issues back to the
Mm.
classroom. So a boy child who is taught how to show custody when approaching issues that have to do with the opposite sex, we always bring that same attitude to the classroom. So when a
Mm-hmm.
male child is not properly brought up, like all the issues I've already outlined so far, a male child is not properly brought up at home. He or she he's going to always bring those attitudes to the classroom. If a male child is always expressing the father hitting the mother or the mother using abusive words on the father, one way or the
Mm-hmm.
other, he's going to copy it and we still bring it back to the classroom. So the
Mm-hmm.
first parenting point in every society is always the home. So that is why the home needs to be well grown and need to be well cultured. All these vices need to be nurtured properly at home so that the children don't bring them to the school. Because the school
Mm-hmm.
have little or nothing they can do at times. Because when these issues are coming from the home, the school have just little to contribute. They don't really have much to do. Then if the home can do the groundwork, the children will never bring such attitude to the school. And also, there is something that I always advise parents not to get involved in. For instance, giving a child a cell phone, an underage child a cell phone, a phone that is exposed to the internet, without even properly, putting some parental control guidance, and all these things. I
Mm-hmm.
easily found out because sometimes when you are even having classes with these students, they tend to navigate and go to other sites and they start watching some things they are not supposed to watch as a result of this. So when they are giving their children devices or device, they should try as much as possible to put parental control on such devices so that these children don't go
Thank you
astray.
so much, Mr. Festus.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. A quick summary of what you just said. Children bear the brunt of our choices. When we choose to, if we decide as adults not to be responsible adults in the home, it's the children that suffer our foolishness or our wisdom. Okay, if we choose to tread the path of responsible adulting ourselves, being cautious to both your husband to wife and wife to husband, with that mindset that our children are watching, and what we are saying to them will make no sense if it is completely different from what we are acting. So if you say that you are a man and a wife, there has to be some form of love. If there are disagreements, please can you seek support early? I'm appealing to parents and people that are, of course, a lot of my audience are going to watch this replay. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to get a counselor early, okay, there's so many family life counselors. There's so many, as I shared with us earlier, Mr. Festus is into mentoring, but mentoring for children. If there are people that you need to meet ASAP to get support, please get support early. Okay, get support early. As educators, we are doing our own bit. As we said earlier, it takes a village to raise a village to raise a child. So we are doing our own bit as village members too, and appealing to parents out there. Okay, life is hard as it is. We can't make it any more difficult for ourselves and for our children as it is right now. What we need is support. Okay, if there are things that you can't resolve within yourselves, seek support outside, seek counseling, seek mentoring, okay, seek family help, seek prayers, and seek God early in life. That I always say. Mr. Festus, is there any last word you want to tell us? Is there any other thing you want to say before we call it a beautiful evening?
What I want to say is, let me first of all thank you once again for bringing me live to this program. I'm very
Thank
happy
you.
that this very topic was addressed properly today. And what I always
Thank
want to
you.
tell people, is, let us go back to some of the ways we used to raise our children before. You know, not everything
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we are Africans. There are some ways we used to raise our children that nurtured us as parents like this. We should also always go back. We should apply some of
To the
those methods.
roots.
Yeah, some of those methods that our grandparents, used on us that made us to become who we are today. So it's not everything we should
Mm-hmm.
be copying from the West. Because some of these things we copy from the West, they are not really our culture and they don't add values to
Mm-hmm.
our system. And at the end of the day, we'll get it all wrong. So that is what I'm saying.
Okay, with no offense given to our Western audience, we have some grounded, rooted culture, such as, remember the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. It didn't used to be our culture to live in isolation. It didn't used to be our culture to just mind our business, as you said earlier. Those are one of the challenges that we are seeing in today's world. We don't look out for each other as much as we used to when we're growing up. Okay, as Mr. Festus rightly said, some of our African roots, African culture involved looking out for your neighbor's children sincerely, with no pedophilic tendencies. These days we're seeing all sorts happen, and parents are becoming wary and more, guarded. And for parents who are really up to speed with what is happening around their environment, they are more cautious of relationships that they even keep. Okay, you're also more conscious of the kind of personalities you're bringing to your home. You are conscious of the friends that you keep as a parent because you don't know what you're exposing your home to. With that said, I want to say thank you for all the discussion, all the beautiful points that you have given. I want to thank my live audience. I can see all of you. There are quite a number of people that joined in live. Thank you so much for the comments that you have left. Oh, some friends are just joining in. Thank you so much for friends that are just joining in. You may continue this conversation in the replay. I want to see your take on some of these important tips and hacks and encouragement and things of words of advice that Mr. Festus have shared already. I'm grateful for you, and I'm waiting to see what you have to say in the comments during. If you're watching in the replay, just put #replay and let me know what your thoughts are. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening and goodbye. Goodbye, Mr. Festus. Goodbye from us here
Bye.
in
Thank
Lagos,
you.
Nigeria.
Yeah, thank
Goodbye.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Festus. Thank you, everybody.